Hello, I am Pearl Howie, and this is Pearl Escapes Fear of Success. And I'm here with the wonderful Monica. Um, and I wanted to share her wisdom with everybody who's listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube. And the reason being, now I've known Monica for almost 10 years, right?
Mhm.
I think so.
Yeah,
And
about that.
yeah, and I met Monica through teaching Zumba, and like so many people who I've worked with and participants in classes, she's been an inspiration for all that time. And there's so many amazing people that I've taught, but the reason I really wanted to bring Monica onto the podcast and share her wisdom with the world is that I remember very clearly that we reconnected because I took a break from teaching right at the beginning of lockdown when I started teaching online. And we had a very bumpy first class when everything went wrong and we had to keep ringing each other and reconnecting on Zoom, but we somehow managed to kind of limp through this class that we did. And I was having a very shaky day, and I think when I'm teaching, I always try not to show that shakiness. And I said, Monica, you were more of a tonic on that day. You gave me so much more. And you shared your mantra for life with me at that time. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and it was on my kitchen counter for at least 2 weeks. And it was the place I came to every time I was feeling overwhelmed by lockdown, by coronavirus, and I would come and sort of stand in the kitchen and go, what do I do now? What do I do? I can't do this. And I picked up this piece of paper which had the mantra on it, and I went, okay, this is what Monica says, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to let you share that mantra now, Monica.
Well, the mantra is whenever I'm in a difficult situation, I've got something to do, and there is fear. I'm apprehensive. For instance, the first time I addressed a conference, a big conference, and I had to go there and to propose a motion. And there was a whole, I don't know how many people in this conference. And I thought to myself, here we go, Monica. Chest out, take a deep breath, and my mantra is shit or bust. And then that was it. You have to have the attitude when you say it. It's like, here goes shit or bust. And then you just go for it.
And I have this, I have the piece of paper still here if you could see this.
Excuse my French.
No, but the thing is, there's so many. I've done a lot of work with mantras, and we see them, and through the wisdom and wonder of Instagram and Facebook. During lockdown, I was getting all these like really wonderful airy fairy ones, and all these like oh la la, it's so soft and fluffy and all that, and they didn't do it for me, Monica. I think when you're going through something that's so kind of overwhelming, you need a heavy duty like
Mhm.
you
And
know
you've got to have the attitude to go with it as well.
you
It's
do.
like shoulders back, head up, and then you go for it.
I'll tell you, if you're listening to the podcast and you're not watching the video, you're missing a treat. But yeah, so another thing that came to my head about doing this, and it was I had to it's the words of Lou Bega in Mambo Number 5. It's like, I need a little Monica in my life.
I remember that. I love that.
I know, and I always think of you when I hear that. So, but one of the stories you told me when we first started talking again during lockdown was one of my favorite stories about the supermarket.
Ah.
Uh,
Oh, yes. After lockdown, I obey all the rules until recently when we had to wear our
oh
face
no
masks.
no 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 no! I want to hear the first one
When we went in the supermarkets.
at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And you were,
But this person breathed down my neck.
no, the first one, when you went to the supermarket, the one you told me the first time was you'd gone just to do your regular shopping.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, right. Oh, I think it was before lockdown.
yeah.
And
So,
everyone was have all the panic buying about everything. And I thought, what's it all about? Normally, I get toilet rolls, like a big pack. Prior to this, it was running low. So I thought, I need to top up. And for about 3 weeks, I was trying. And each time I go, all sold out. This day, walking the shop, and people were coming out with loo rolls. And they all had 3 packs. This chap was coming out the door and he had about 3 packs. So I said to him, I said, you've got 3. All I need is 1. Can I have 1? And he looked at me quite sheepishly and walked away. But I'm not surprised. I was trying. I did try. If I'd got 1, I would have appreciated it, but I didn't get it.
I said, I just cannot believe that man didn't like say anything. I mean, in fairness, I can't believe he didn't just hand over all the toilet roll to you.
I said, I only need 1. You don't need 3. And these are 3 packs of 18.
No, I didn't realise that.
Yes,
So
each pack contained 18 rolls. And he had 3 of those.
And that was what everybody was doing, wasn't it?
And that's what everyone was doing. I said, I only need 1.
Yeah, it's kind of, I must admit there was, and it seems a really strange thing. I've written about this actually on my blog about the rush for toilet roll it seems to be England, Australia and America all went a bit nuts.
Yeah,
you know.
I know, but why?
I actually written about the psychology of this because it's actually about, it's one of those symbols of safety and security that we like. So it's
But it wasn't just toilet rolls. There was flour.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get flour.
I know.
There was eggs. You couldn't get those.
It's funny though, because it's the kind of stuff that my mum and my grandma just buy as normal in their weekly shop, because it's the kind of, because they do their own baking and
yeah,
they do make it. So it suddenly was a thing that like everything that they would normally wanted from the shop, you couldn't get.
You couldn't get. Everyone was stockpiling. Why?
Well, the thing was, it was really funny because it was also things like, oh my gosh, because my mum and my brother, because they're highly vulnerable, they normally have loads and loads of hand gel and the antibacterial hand wash. So they normally buy a load of this. And so suddenly they couldn't get it. And it was like,
no,
but that's
that
what
was another thing you couldn't get as well.
Yeah.
People were queuing up.
But for them, it was kind of like, hang on, this is our normal shop. We can't get the normal shop. And then what was really funny was they came out with a thing that Mozziguard, this thing that they have in Mozziguard, which is kind of like a natural mosquito repellent, was they were investigating whether it was useful, against coronavirus and so on.
Mm.
And my mum rang me. She went, "Oh, quick, get me some of this." Because she can't go outside without it on because she's so allergic to mosquitoes. And, it was like sold out everywhere immediately. She said, why?
Anything with alcohol base in it was sold out.
Yeah, this was one of those very special things. But she said, it's everything that I buy. Why is it everything? But actually, I wanted to share this with you because I thought it went with your mantra. I'm very lucky because where I live, my landlady actually buys this and has been buying this for ages. And I thought this went very well with your mantra.
What is it saying? I've got to change glasses.
It says, who gives a crap? And if you haven't seen this before, check it out. It's actually a charity. I think it's a charity. But it's, I'm not sure, maybe it's not a charity, but what they do is they use like half the profits to build toilets around the world.
Yeah.
And it's also it's recycled and there's no plastic packaging. And they deliver it to your house.
Oh,
so
that's good.
So I've been very lucky because she has it delivered to the house. So she keeps saying, if you need some toilet roll, just go and get them. And I'm like, do you know what? And actually, I did take, I took one over to my grandma as well, because I thought that would make her laugh.
Would.
make you laugh.
I love that.
Yeah, and you do good with it around the world. You know,
Yes, you do.
people are doing good. I think a lot
Sort
of
of breaks the mood.
oh, well, exactly. And there's some really good posts on social media. If you check out the company, if you look up who gives a crap, hopefully you'll find them and see all the good things that they're doing around the world. So it's really cool.
No, with this, I didn't take it. I just go with the flow.
You do.
They said,
Yeah.
unfortunately for me, I wasn't one of those people who had to be, what do you call it, shielded. So,
Yeah.
I had that bit of freedom.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it that much.
Mm.
I could go and do my shopping once a week. That's what I do. And I thought, I'm not going to chance it, go any often. And I go in the shops and I abide by the 2-meter rule.
Yes.
I get my shopping, I do my washing. But hand washing is nothing new to me. I was brought up that way.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. So,
yes, it was nothing new. Wash your hands before you touch that. Wash your hands before when you come from outside. I was brought up that way by my grandmother. So it just wasn't anything new. So I didn't have a challenge remembering to wash my hands.
yeah. It's like we were saying, a lot of the advice that we've had is actually just common sense.
Yes, it is. It's just hygiene. Normal, everyday hygiene.
But we always say, like, the common sense is in remarkably short supply, considering it's meant to be common.
Well, maybe it's the word common that does it.
Oh, maybe it is. But I think what I'd just like to say is, like, because the other thing about you, Monica, is I suppose the big changes for you now, because you're not just a grandma, you're also a great grandma, aren't you?
Yes.
And
I think the hardest part about it, my great grandson, he's been with me from he was 11 months. And I look after him to school while his mother went back to uni. He actually lived with me and I did everything until he was 15.
Wow.
And then he went to his mother. But on the other hand, he used to be with me every weekend as much as possible. And this is what I miss over the lockdown more than anything else, not having his visit.
Yeah.
And I think he's missed that an awful lot. But we spend a lot of time on the phone, on everything, and have a laugh. He gets back down. I talk to him. I said, just go with the flow. Keep your mind, keep your body active, and then you come out of this way. Right. I said, it's not forever. And I said to him, what doesn't kill you make you stronger?
Yeah. And I think the thing is that, but for you as well, now Monica has been, you say volunteering. It doesn't really, you've always been so active with the schools.
Oh yes.
Locally, and that's the thing. Like, all the kids in the area know you.
Yeah.
And
because
so,
that was the school that he was at.
Yeah.
I just started there doing the odd things, like during the Christmas parade, doing things, helping them out. And the next thing I know, I was there volunteering twice a week. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because I loved being around with the children. And I was there. We could take them swimming. I've known all the museums now because I've traveled to all the museums with them. And I actually go there. I do their resources. I read with them. I do everything. And I started from nursery. So they go through, and I'm in the shopping center, and all of a sudden someone saying, hello, Miss Monica. And I looked up, and there was this chap there because I've known him small, and now they've grown up. They're that tall, but they still remember me. Even the parents.
Yeah.
Hello, Grandma. Yes, they get called that way. And I love that.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things. I think that it's a wonderful feeling, and I loved living in Merton, where we are, because that, especially the Mitcham area, has such a strong community. It's so. I always remember. I always think, actually, because we've had so much going on in the last few months, and I always remember 2011.
Yeah.
When we had the riots. in
Mm.
Croydon, you know, and it was, and even in Collier's Wood and Mitcham area. I
Everywhere.
remember, because I think I'd been teaching about a year then. And I remember coming in and I was like, I had an injury and I was like, I've got to come into class, you know, because all of you guys will be so scared and you'll be all like worried. And I cycled into class and I got there and every single person was in the class. And they're all like, yeah, it's all right. We know everyone around here. And it was like, wow, this is a community, you know, it's such, you could get that community vibe in Mitcham where,
Yes, you do.
oh yeah. And it's like, it was such a great experience for me because I've been living in Wimbledon for about 20 years and it's not the same.
No, I like it because I move into the Mitcham area. I think is around about what 79. Time does fly.
I know.
And you know, I know so many people around there, maybe not by name, but just by face recognition. We can say hi, walk down the shops, and I always find someone to talk with.
Yeah.
And you sort of build that up. I've shifted around to another area of Mitcham now, but it's still the same. I think wherever I am, I make a home.
You do.
And I make sure whoever's around me, we just get on just fine.
And you make
Because,
friends. You really
yeah,
do. You know.
yeah. A stranger is a friend you haven't met yet. So, you know, that's it.
And I love, because we've been doing the Zumba Gold classes online. And what's been really great about that is I've had people coming from all of the different classes and different places I was teaching.
Yeah.
So what's been really nice is actually, although the participants are people that I knew and know, you guys hadn't even met each other before.
No.
But you kind of, the very first day, I think I remember you sort of turned around and you went, how is everybody?
Well, that's it. You just get to know we're all there. So we're just meeting up.
Yeah, and it would be so nice after lockdown when we can actually get together and you can meet each other. It would be so nice because it would be the first time you actually meet, won't it?
Yeah.
But I love
Yes.
that. I love the way when you said that. I just remember again very clearly, like when we all got together and you just turn and everyone talks to each other, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what a real life class is like.
Because we walk up and introduce ourselves. We don't wait for the next person to do it. Because you just walk in. So we said, hi, I'm so-and-so, and what is your name? And then we start off, and that's it.
But sweetie, that is more of a Mitcham thing. That is more of an Acacia Centre thing.
Makes everyone feel at home.
Yeah. But I love that vibe has kind of come in, and that's the vibe that we have in the class. Do you know? Whereas when I taught in other places, although it was friendly, it just wasn't, people were still a bit like hesitant.
A bit reserved.
People do the same thing that teenagers do. And I thought it was really funny. You have people who were in their 70s and 80s would come into a new class and they would still stand on the side. And the first thing they would do is get their phone out. And they would stand and go, you know, and they go,
No. I think they're just shy.
Oh, you could see it immediately. It was just kind of like, I'm too nervous to say hello to other people.
So that's why you should walk up and say it works both ways.
Oh, definitely. So, hey, Monica, do you want to tell us about incident number 2 in the supermarket?
Oh, no.
I'm going to kind of like, I want to sort of, you know, what I love when we talk about these things, because you're so lovely and you're so nice. But you're not too nice. You're not too nice to stick up for yourself.
Oh, no. I say it as it is.
Okay.
No,
I don't want to get I never get on the wrong side and want to.
I say it as it is, and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
Draw a line and move on.
It's true.
Yeah, that's it. No, it was in the supermarket recently, and I stand there doing my shopping and everything. All of a sudden, I feel this breathing down my neck. Hello? Turned around, walked away. I said, hello. And I was really annoyed because I thought, no, I've been keeping my distance throughout this lockdown. Until this day, someone didn't keep their distance. So I got home and I WhatsApp. And I said, I've been keeping my 2 meter distance throughout this lockdown until today when you breathe down my neck. I'm surprised at your action because being a TFL employee, you ought to know the safety of others and yourself. And I felt better after that. And I hope he won't do that again to anyone else.
Well, like you said, just anyone who doesn't know, TFL in London is the public
Transport for London.
Exactly. So, as you say, somebody who should know better.
Exactly.
And yes, and he did come back to you, didn't he?
Oh yes, he came back to me. He said, "Oh, weren't you wearing a mask?" I said, "No, I wore my mask on the bus, but when I get in the shop, I took it off." And I said, "Neither were you." He said, "Well, I'm COVID-free. I've been tested." I said, "Pleased to hear that, but I don't know whether I'm COVID-free. I haven't been tested." So it's something to think about.
Yeah. And it's actually, do you know what's really interesting is that just now, because the masks have been mandatory on public transport for, is it since the 1st of July, something like that?
I think, is it about the 15th?
No,
I think it's about the 15th of June. Yeah.
But anyway, so they just announced today that face coverings are now mandatory in shops.
Yeah.
From next
week.
From next Friday. And there's been a lot of like kerfuffle the last few days about people in England saying, "Oh yes, we need to do it." And Scotland, I think it's coming in as well.
No, with Scotland, it is. They have to wear it
already. Yeah.
Yes. England was the one that was fluffing about. We might not. Now they need to make their mind up.
Well, exactly.
Yes, because they still haven't agreed about it.
Sorry?
Some think we should, some think we shouldn't. And there are some people that are exempt from it. But who's going to police that?
Well, I think it's good to have as you say, it's good in the middle of all this chaos, it's good to have a simple rule.
Yep.
And I think I remember when you were showing me, because you were showing me the mask that you'd bought. When it was going to be coming in on public transport. And like you said, well, I have to get the bus, so here it is, here's the mask.
Yes.
And I remember saying to you, well, they're not going to do it down here because I'm on the south coast, because you're in London. And I've been on the train and I've been wearing my face mask. And
are you getting odd looks?
No, not really, because there's a lot of signage saying you have to wear it, and there's a lot of announcements. I've only been on the train, I haven't been on the bus. There's a lot of announcements saying you have to wear it, but there are a lot of people who get on and kind of just
don't wear it.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's really about I wear a grade 2 mask that means that I'm protected as well, which I wear on public transport because I don't trust anybody getting on public transport. And actually, in a way, I think I will be much happier in shops now, wearing a face covering as well. And I think it just sends the right, it's a clear message, isn't it? It's a clear message.
Well, if I have to wear it, I will wear it.
Yeah.
Although I tell you, it's mighty uncomfortable walking around the shops with this thing on. For a short period of time on the buses, that's not bad, but walking around the shops,
what do you find uncomfortable about it?
I think it's just the breathing. You find the breathing is like labored.
Okay.
Or it's sort of moist and hot, where your breath usually. But I can see what they mean, and if that is required, I will do it. Carry on.
I was going to say, if you've got a racer back top, I've got another video on YouTube which shows you how to make a mask out of that. And I found, because I made that ages ago, because again, like you said, it's better if you have a washable one.
Well, these I have a washable.
Those are good, aren't they? Yeah. But this one I made out of like a racer back top, because I was like, well, I've got no scarves, I've got nothing like that. So I made this one, and it takes me about 15 seconds to put it on. But then it's very easy to kind of pull down and pull back up. It doesn't actually sit on my ears, and it's double thickness, but it's loose on the inside.
Yeah, but this one isn't so bad. You know, it's there. And regardless of what you use, you're not accustomed to having things
No, but I'm saying
on your face.
check out the video and maybe give it a go, because I find that one is easier, you know, for breathing. But I wear the proper one on the train. I've got to go to the hospital next week, and I've got to wear one all the way in the hospital.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, anyway, we get there. I think the thing is, it's about just getting used to something different.
Yes, if we have to, we have to.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I think the first time I got on a train with one on, because I was rushing to get on the train and I was a bit stressed and everything, I did find it really hard to breathe with it on. But I think that was me. I think that was me just kind of feeling a bit stressed. And so the next time I was very calm, and I was sitting on the platform, and then I put it on plenty of time, and then I stepped on the train and I was like, I'm fine. I'm calm. I'm calm. But do you know what,
just breathe easily.
Yeah, but it was quite a long journey as well, and I was like, oh, I really hate not being able to have a cup of tea.
But you can take it down and have your drink if you need a drink.
Not when you're traveling, not on the train. I'm not supposed to. So.
Well, if you're thirsty, you're thirsty. So you just take it down for a while and have a sip, put it back up.
I'm not thinking, but I just got there early and went and had a coffee when I got there. So that it's you have to add in more time and everything as well. So, but it's like you say, I love it when I hang out with you guys, because there's things that I get stressed about, and when we get together, like in class, I sort of say, well, have you done this and have you doing that? And you go, because I'd not been on public transport the whole time. And you're like, well, I get on the bus all the time. And I was like, well, and I go, well, if Monica could do it, if Monica could do it, then I could do it, you know.
Doing it throughout lockdown.
Well, you're just more hardcore than me, Monica.
Yeah.
It's a different sort of thing down here, and I think, you know, but that's the thing. I think if you don't have to do something, then you become nervous because you haven't done it for a while. So it's good, because you're a great reality check for me.
Because I thought, you know, with lockdown, I would have found it very difficult, because I'm always out doing activities. Like, I have about 3-4 classes, exercise classes I usually do weekly, and I thought I would miss that. But then Zoom takes over, and I thought, well, if I can't go out there and do it, I'll do it indoors. And then I thought, I found the positive side about it. Oh, I haven't got to get up and get on the bus.
Yeah, because you're not a morning person, are you, Monica?
I can have half an hour extra sleep in bed.
Oh man, I bet you that is what most of the people who are now able to work from home are saying. You know, it's like, well, actually, I don't really miss that commute,
because I haven't got to commute. So, you know, I can have half an hour extra in bed, and you know, and I still enjoy my classes. I do. I have got the dancing with you on Wednesday. Thursday, I have my belly dancing. And I've started another dance group on a Wednesday. This is more like a street dance.
Oh, cool. Why not?
So Wednesday morning, I have the belly dancing at 9:30. 11:30, I have another street dance. And then Thursday, I have another belly dancing. So, I'm very active.
You really are. You really are. And it's amazing. I love it. And you've also, because the thing is, when we did our first class, I think, was that the first time you'd used Zoom, or?
Yes, actually it was.
Yeah, and it was, we really struggled with it. And we've had a lot of moments, haven't we, when things didn't work. But
it's teething problems. Yeah. Now we're sailing through.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? And what I love is because you have your big charity event, don't you?
That's right. I even have Zoom meetings with those. At the moment, we're planning online fundraising concerts. Yeah. Because normally we had, the charity is Friends of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. In Jamaica, we haven't got the NHS like they've got here.
I'm going to ask you to say that again, louder and slower, because I didn't quite get it.
It's called Friends of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. In Jamaica, they've got a heart foundation which looks after people. Now, this isn't government funded. So since 1980, we form a group here, which is to raise funds to support that organization. So we actually send them a minibus, which goes around the island, check people's blood pressure, teach them about healthy eating and healthy habits. Now, because of this pandemic, we had to cancel all the events we normally have. Usually we have concerts in April, a garden party in July, and a big ball in November. All these are cancelled. So now we're organizing a concert, online concert for the 25th of this month, that is to raise funds. So you see, I'm active in all those, mail out, online, and we have Zoom meeting. Oh no, I enjoy. I've got so many Zoom meetings.
You're like a Zoom queen now.
I'm embracing the new technology, dear.
Well, you know, I think it's just wonderful because you have such a, what's the word? Oh, a joie de vivre. You know, that French joy of life.
Oh yes, I enjoy it.
So before we move on, let me just say, so if people want to, is there a website for your charity event?
Yes, there's a www. If you go into www.heartfoundation.limited, then you will find all the information about the charity and about the concert.
That's great.
We also have a funding page on there as well, asking for donation.
Good. That's really good.
So if anyone is interested, Friends of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, just plug that in and you get all the information there. Yeah. I'm just a small wheel in the cog. I'm not the big bud.
You know, it's great that you've got that energy and that you continue to put your energy into the events and the fundraising, even though it's not working in the way that we expected it to.
Well, we have to try something new to keep afloat.
It's the same, and that's the thing, we're all learning to do things that we never expected to be doing, really.
That's right.
Yeah. I have this quote here I wrote down, and it just really reminded me of you, Monica, and it's from Rudyard Kipling's If.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, for some reason, this makes me think of you, and it says, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And I think the thing is with you, it's like, if
some more.
Well, that's the thing, is if something goes really well, you laugh. If something goes really badly, you laugh.
What's the point of crying? It's not going to help. If you cry, it's still going to happen. So might as well see the positive side of it. Yeah. There's always a positive side to something.
You know, I think that's true. And I think, you know, one of the things that as we're saying, the things that I've really missed is, I actually see my grandma. I do see my grandma because I go and been dropping off shopping and stuff. But I miss being able to give her a hug.
Yeah.
You know, and to go in the house and just watch a movie together and to have dinner inside. You know that. You know, whereas it's more kind of like a distanced, sitting in the garden and being very careful about.
And you have to be thinking. You can't do things naturally as you normally do. That's the thing.
It takes a lot of energy, and I've discovered that that's what I find, particularly with my grandma. When I'm with her, it takes me energy to do things in an attentive way, you know, to do the silly things. And I feel like, okay, there's a point where I have to leave before I make a mistake.
You can't be spontaneous. You've got to think about it.
Yeah, it's so easy, and it's kind of like to do something, you know, that would be natural, you know, and that's what you were saying as well, because you know your grandson wants to come and stay with you,
and we're a huggy type, so can you imagine? As I see him, the first thing I want to do is
I like your virtual hug, Monica. That I could feel that hug. I could feel. This is what we do with my grandma. I go virtual hug, virtual hug. We do this. It's really good. But I was thinking though, what's been really nice in a way is like my day. Whatever happens is I pretty much talk to my mum on the phone every day, and I talk to my grandma on the phone every day, and I text my sister every day. So in a way, although we're more at distance, there's, we have a connection every day, and there's a real, um, yeah. I think there's a different kind of relationship that we've built over the last few months.
And do you think it's more connection you're having now than you would normally have on the
Uh,
normal? Would you have text them every day?
no.
Yeah.
And what was funny is that normally, me and my grandma are very relaxed and normal in person, and being on the phone feels a bit weird. And I would normally, if I was going to ring her, I would normally just turn up,
Yeah.
you know, or I would ring her like maybe every 3 or 4 days. And then what's happened with the shift is most of the time we're more normal on the phone. Now we actually laugh and joke on the phone, and we have a giggle more
Than in person.
But when we're in person, sometimes it feels more stilted.
Because you have to remember the distancing.
Yeah. And also I think, the first few times, like we were talking with one of the other ladies from the class about she's getting to see her mum again, that the first few times it feels
It was very strange, she said, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the first few times, I think as well with us, it was that we were all going through so much, and it was harder not to have that hug because we were all still kind of in shock about what was going on in the world. So when we saw each other, it was very intense, because it was kind of like we were talking about the important things about how we felt, but it was like I didn't know. And the first time I was like, okay, I've got to be all chirpy and cheerful, and I've got to kind of G her up and say, oh, well, it won't be so bad. And then I came home and felt, well, that didn't feel right.
You overdid it then.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes if you do that, it means the other person doesn't feel like heard. So the next time I was just like, right, I'm just going to listen.
Yeah, I do quite a lot of that, because during this lockdown, one of my best friends that we usually go on holidays together, she lost her son during that. He was ill for years, and yes, and he went. And so I had to console her. It's very, very hard because I couldn't be there personally.
Yeah.
So over the phone, we did a lot of talking, and we did a lot of that consoling. And, one of the things I actually said to her, he has been very ill. And, really and truly, he's in a better place. I said, I know you're going to feel it. Yes, you will. It's going to take a long time, because I've lost 2 sons, so I know exactly how it feels.
You have.
And I said, cry if you want to cry. It's normal. I said, but think about it this way. He's out of his pain. No more suffering. So, I do quite a lot of that. I've spoken to quite a few people who have lost husbands, sons during this lockdown. Fortunately for me, I haven't lost anyone close, because my mother died about 10, 15 years ago. 2 of my sons went. So, I actually been through it all. So when I'm talking to her, it's through experience. And, often I speak to her and she said, and when I leave her, I must say, she's on a high.
Well, do you know what? I think the thing is that it's so different when somebody says that, when they come from a place of knowing it.
Yes.
Because like I was saying before, there's you mean it and you know it.
Yes.
It's not like when somebody writes it on a platitude on Instagram and then we've got to be careful about that. I would say don't try this at home, and don't try this at home unless you kind of know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that what I think is so beautiful is the word that comes to mind is grace. You know, that you have that grace to use what, you know,
because I'm using my feeling,
absolutely.
how I felt. And I'm saying to her, yes, you get up and you feel like crying. I used to have a picture on the wall, and I come down in the morning and I look at it and I said, good morning, dear. Or if I'm going up to bed, I'm saying, night, night, hon. So I tell that to her. I said, put his picture there.
Yeah.
Look at it. Talk with him as if he's there. Yes, you talk with him. You feel like crying. Cry if you want to cry. You will feel it. He was your son. But think about it the other way. He's at peace. He's not in any pain anymore.
Yeah. And I think,
And, you know, that's all I can do.
definitely, I think it's very challenging for people, even ordinarily, even without the current situation. It's very challenging for people to know what to say and what to do when somebody's bereaved. And from the people around me, I know it's been, as you say, very helpful to have a photo. You know, very helpful to keep the picture of the person you love around you. But sometimes the people who are trying to support you can be a bit like, oh, doesn't that upset you having the picture?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I say, talk about the person.
Absolutely.
Keep on talking about the person, the good times, the fun times. Laugh about it as well. That's it. Because, you know, it gets easier as time goes by. But right now for her, and especially in this lockdown where she's on her own, she isn't out and about being active, so she has more time to think about it. So, you know, I said, think about it. Good times they had with him. Laugh about it. Cry if you want to cry. It's all part of it, the grieving process.
It is. And she's not on her own because she's got you.
Yeah, and she's got her daughters and that as well. But, you know, she used to be out and about.
Yeah.
And maybe if this lockdown wasn't about, I would be there with her and we'd be going somewhere. And that will help to pass some hours away.
Yeah.
But
I think
it's not there.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It can be very helpful when you're going through that grieving, just, you know, just to go out for a little walk or something.
Yes.
To just kind of to hear the birds singing, or, you know, just to kind of, you know, there's
something to occupy some of the hours. So you haven't got that many hours to think about the one that's gone.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting something you've said, and something that's also come up that I hadn't been thinking about, but a lot of our rituals have been interrupted. You know, the rituals that we use just to get through, and also the rituals when we lose somebody, and the rituals when we care for people.
Yeah.
You know, the things that we would normally do to care for somebody. You know, as you say, you would go in the house, you would probably cook for them.
Yes. And you'll be there, support, a hug, always a hug.
and so exactly, and it's so hard when you have family members and friends in hospital that you can't be at their bedside. And that, for me, I've had a family member in hospital, and that was excruciating. That was really tough. But I think the thing is what I love is the way that you're talking about it, is that we have to find ways of making that work with what we have.
Yeah, that's it.
And not being afraid to just pick up the phone, you know. And it's very sad, I think, for a lot of people who haven't been able to go to funerals. I
think it's getting better now. Yeah. Because they've had to ease the restriction, because it used to be it was no one there. Then it went to 5 different boroughs. I think they're extending it. I think my friend's her son's funeral, I think it was 10 were allowed, but then other relatives turned up, and the crematorium accommodated them because there was enough space.
That's good.
To social distancing everyone. And it was a lovely ceremony. I said to the vicar at the end of the service, we said, oh, that was a beautiful service. I said, I think I'll have a COVID funeral when I go.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
I said, if they remember, as if to say, you know, it's going to be a long time. I said, I think I would love something like this. It's so personal. I'm sorry, Pearl, but that's me.
I love you. No, I'm just thinking, because no, but one of the things that came to mind, and you make me laugh so much. I laugh no matter what we're talking about.
And we're talking about death, and I'm laughing.
But you know what? I always find, like, whenever I've had to break the news to somebody of a death, I'm always surprised by how much we end up laughing. You know, there's like a shock thing, and then we end up laughing.
Is it a nervous laughter or what?
I think so, or just surreal. But
I think it's a relief.
Well, I don't know. But I think also, like with funerals, you know, often there's a lot of joy and laughter because it's celebration. You know, it's a celebration
of the person's, yeah.
And one of the things I remember saying, I met this woman. It was random. We were somewhere, and it turned out she was a celebrant, you know, of funerals, weddings. She did all, you know. And I said, you know, about a funeral I had been to, and actually the people whose funerals I've been to in my life have all had not been able to fit everybody in, you know, standing room only. And she said that's actually really rare. She said that's actually really rare. But you know, I think that's the kind of thing people always say about success in life is.
But not in a Caribbean funeral. That's not rare. It goes all day.
But the thing is, you know, when you want to have said about you when you die is like there was standing room only, you know, at your funeral. And I think that is a huge mark of it. But I do need to say something which I wasn't going to say, and I am going to say, because this is for the people. No, well, one of the things, it's interesting because I actually wrote about this in one of my books, because I didn't go to my father's funeral for various reasons. And I found that really difficult. And when it sort of hit me, I remember saying to sort of wise people where I was, like, you know, do you have any rituals? Do you have any ways of saying goodbye? You know, if you couldn't go to a funeral. And I ended up going to a sacred mountain. And that actually was a sort of...
Your goodbye.
Sorry?
That was your way of saying goodbye.
Yeah, I didn't know how it was going to work, but when I was there at sunrise, it just went. It just was like whoosh, you know. So I don't know if you've got any advice or wisdom for people who are sort of struggling with that.
No, you must have had a good reason why you couldn't make it.
Well, I was very young, so it was, you know, it's one of those things.
No.
I think it's never too late. It's never too late to kind of honour someone.
Yes, you can do it in your own way.
And as long as you stay within the coronavirus guidelines, of which there are so many these days.
Oh, I know. Yeah. As we've been talking about the other day, you know, how do I get this bubble?
Oh, yeah.
My grandson, you know, coming to visit me, because we're still trying to work around that one.
Do you know something, though? I will say, because one of the things I mentioned was there's a really great, I really like this advert. I'm not sure it's a great advert. It makes me laugh. There's a beer advert in the UK, and it's for Carlsberg. And the one about everyone escaping from their houses and going to the pub for the first time. And they're all sitting at this table, all socially distanced. But then I realised that they've got 3 people from 3 different households. And that's not allowed. And actually a lot of pubs, if you book a table, when you book it, you have to tick this thing that says, I promise that all the people at this table are from a maximum of 2 households. So they've actually made this advert all about coming out of lockdown and going to the pub. But when I was watching it, I went, that's 3 households, that is. So that's actually breaking the rules. So yeah, but I think that the common sense stuff is the most important thing, isn't it? Really, is
Yeah. So I'm not pushing it. I'm waiting until the right time.
well, you seem to be doing so well, and you know, we're getting on, aren't we? We keep going,
Yes.
and I hope that, you know, I feel it's great. I'm talking to my friends in France and Italy who have gone through this wave before us, and
Yeah.
now they're getting to go back out, and they're going on holiday in Italy, they're going on holiday in France, you know, they're getting to do all the things that they miss doing. And I think we're coming into that, so we can enjoy it responsibly. And just you know, for anybody who's in the States who obviously are experiencing this right now, this sort of peak, this hopefully the middle of this,
Just
that,
have to be sensible.
and just one day at a time, you know, we get through it. Just remember, as Monica said, I'm going to round.
One day at a time.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say that, Monica. I was going to say the other thing. I'm going to end on this, okay? Because we can talk all night.
When in doubt, just puff your chest out back and said, shit or bust, and go forward.
Never a wiser word spoken. Thank you so much, Monica. And I'll see all the rest of you next week on the podcast, on YouTube. Stay tuned for more wonderful guests. And thank you so much, Monica. You are always an inspiration.